Guys, this is absolutely massive. Donald Trump just arrived in China with some of the biggest CEOs in the world. And the reason behind this trip is way bigger than most people realize. We're talking about names like Tim Cook, Elon Musk, and Jensen Huang. But here's where things get really interesting. Jensen Huang was reportedly not even on the original invitation list. Now, let's talk about why Tim Cook was there. Around 20% of Apple's total revenue comes directly from China. That's roughly $80 billion every single year. And nearly 80% of all iPhones are assembled there. So if trade tensions between the US and China get even worse, iPhones across the world could become dramatically more expensive. And that's not all. Apple is already dealing with ongoing regulatory pressure around the App Store inside China. But now comes the craziest part: Jensen Huang and NVIDIA. The White House had officially released the delegation list, and Jensen Huang's name was missing at first. Chinese media immediately noticed it, and speculation exploded online that NVIDIA wasn't part of the trip because China still cannot access NVIDIA's most advanced AI chips due to US export restrictions. Then, suddenly, reports claimed that Trump personally asked Jensen Huang to join the trip while already en route, with Air Force One reportedly stopping in Alaska during the process. And honestly, that move makes complete sense.
China represents a potential $50 billion market for NVIDIA. But right now, the US government blocks the export of top-tier AI chips to China, while China has also placed its own technology restrictions in response. And here's the real long-term threat for NVIDIA. After the US chip bans, Chinese companies and AI labs that heavily depended on NVIDIA hardware started shifting toward domestic alternatives, like Huawei's AI chips. Even companies connected to AI development ecosystems began exploring local solutions. If this trend continues, China could eventually stop depending on NVIDIA altogether. Now, let's talk about Boeing. The CEO of Boeing was also part of the trip because China has reportedly frozen around $50 billion worth of Boeing aircraft orders since 2019. Meanwhile, Airbus has continued aggressively selling planes to Chinese airlines. And this single visit was expected to potentially restart discussions around a massive deal involving nearly 500 Boeing 737 MAX aircraft. So the bigger picture here is incredibly clear. Despite all the political tension, trade wars, and technology restrictions, many of America's biggest companies are still deeply dependent on the Chinese market. This entire trip was not just political. It was about AI, chips, smartphones, airplanes, manufacturing, and the future balance of global tech power. If you enjoyed this update, make sure to like and subscribe to Patch Pulse channel, and I'll see you in the next update.